Setting goals for your business is one of the most dangerous things that you can do. And chances are it's going to leave you stuck, it's going to leave you frustrated, and it's going to leave you in a position where you want to give up and you want to walk away. Hey, this is Wayne, founder of Ugly Mug Marketing and creator of the Agency Accelerator. And over the last 16 years, I have grown a marketing agency from startup to multiple seven figures. And every single year, we've continued to grow despite the economic up and downs, despite all of the changes in the industry. And in this video, I'm going to share with you why goal setting is actually harming your business. Now, look, I get it. We go online, we look around YouTube, Instagram, wherever it may be, and we hear all of these gurus, all of these influencers telling us, hey, Wayne, you should set goals. You should set goals. You should have goals. And so by default, for us as entrepreneurs, as business owners, we think that means we need to have goals for our business. And so we go and we're ambitious. Probably at the beginning of the year, we're super ambitious. We set all of these goals for the next year. And then we fast forward another year and we're frustrated. We haven't made any progress. We feel like we're taking one step forward, two steps back. Maybe that's you. Maybe that's the way you feel right now as you're watching this video. Maybe you feel like you're pouring your heart and soul into this thing, all of your passion, all of your energy. You have a great product. You provide great services. And yet you look around and you see your competitors who may not have a good product or a good service, and they seem to be excelling. They seem to be growing. And you seem to be struggling. The reason is this: you are setting goals, and goals are sabotaging your chances of business success. Now, when it comes to our personal lives, absolutely yes, you need to have goals, and you need to have them in really two categories in our personal lives. Number one, we need to have accomplishment goals, the things we set out to accomplish, and then we need to have habit goals. And these are the goals that we need to set so that we can become the type of person, the type of people that we want to become, right? So those are the two types of goals that you need in your personal life. But when it comes to your business, if you are leading, if you are starting everything at the beginning of the year, or when you set out to create your business, if you're basing it on these goals that you have, you are destined to fail. So what do, right? You're watching this, you're thinking like, I hear you. I'm frustrated, right? I'm not making the progress that I want to make. I know there's got to be something different, something better, something I can do that will actually help me get the progress that I want. If that is you, I'm going to walk you through the exact framework that we've used to actually create the future that we want to create, to bring our vision to life. So if that's you, let's go ahead and dive into this. Now, the very first place we're going to start is this: that you have to have a compelling vision for your business. Now, when I say a compelling vision, this isn't a vision statement. This is actually a written, documented vision. So I want you to lean into the future. For you, it may be 2 years, it may be 3 years, it may be 5 years, it may be 10 years. Lean into the future, and I want you to envision what your business is going to look like at that stated point. Now, I want you to write your vision as if that day's already arrived. So if we're leaning 3 years into the future, you're going to write it as if it's that exact day 3 years in the future. And you want to write it from the perspective of the sights, the sounds, the smells, the energy, the feelings that exist in your business at that time. So you're not writing about facts and figures. You're not writing about, all the boring analytical stuff. What you're writing about is you're writing about the feelings, the emotions. What is it that you're trying to create? So that is step one. So ignore the goals, start with the vision. Now, look, I could go through and cite all the resources. I could cite successful company after successful company who have followed this approach to bring their vision to life, and you would be astounded. It's not something that's talked about often. And so often for us as entrepreneurs, we blur those lines between what the gurus tell us to do, right? The influencers tell us to do, setting goals, and we carry that over into the business world without really diving into the business world and seeing who has been in a similar situation to me, who's accomplished the things that I want to accomplish. Who are those people and how do they go about doing that? And so step number one, create that vision. You've got to start with that. If you need help with that, let me know in the comments and I can create some resources to actually help walk you through our 8-step process that we use when creating a vision. Now, here's the framework that we're going to work through. And this is the framework that has enabled us to grow for 16 years consecutively. It's enabled our clients to grow in the same manner, right? We take this approach and we help them implement it into their organizations, and the results are absolutely phenomenal. We've had 6 clients sell their companies just over the last couple of years. We've had another client who's gone from 22 million to a billion in annual revenue. And this is the process that they follow. So this is an example for us as an agency, and this is an actual exercise that we just worked through. So I'm going to share with you what we just worked through. So right now, this is current reality. We are a doing agency. So in other words, people come to us, they pull out their wallet and say, hey, look, I really need you to help with marketing. I need you to run Facebook. I need you to run Instagram. I need you to, whatever those things may be, go do those things. And so we go out and we do those things, and it's great. But the problem we run into when we do these things is sometimes we start to get viewed as just the doers, right? So they come to us and they say, hey, go do X, go do Y, go do this, go do that. We don't want to be in that position. Where do we want to be as an agency? We want to be a consultancy. We want to be a place where people come to us, entrepreneurs come to us to give them strategic guidance to help them get where they want to get. And here's what's interesting. We're already doing this. Our most successful clients, they don't come to us and tell us what to do. Instead, they come to us and say, here's the goal, here's the objective. We trust you to go execute on that. So that is what we're leaning into. So for you, ask yourself this question. What is my current reality? How is my current reality defined? Number two, what is that future vision that you're trying to create? And again, this is why it's so important to document this. Now, what you're going to do after you have your current reality defined and you have your vision in place is you are going to list out the facts that exist. So let's say that this is 5 years in the future. What are the facts about the future business that you're going to run? So what are the things that you know are going to be true at that point in the future? Now, again, this is the beauty of this exercise. It forces us to take what is abstract. It forces us to take something that's just a vision on paper, and it forces us to create actual, tangible, measurable things. And so for us, we talked about we're going to be bigger, right? We can't be the same size agency if we're going to make it over here. Number two, we have to stand for excellence. Like that has to be the core. That has to be a fact about us. It's all about excellence with our clients and what we do. Number two, clear marketing strategies. So we want to provide crystal clear marketing strategies, and we want to give those to our clients to execute on. Next, social proof. We want to leverage and lean into all of the amazing results that we've gotten for our clients. Next is credibility, which is tied into social proof, right? We want to be an extremely credible organization. And then this one, holistic. That's another fact. So we want to be a holistic marketing agency. We don't just want to focus on Facebook campaigns or just email marketing. And honestly, we don't even want to just focus on marketing. We want to focus on anything that will help our clients grow their businesses. So you're going to start with listing out the facts. So you know what the future looks like, feels like, sounds like, smells like. Now you're going to list out some of the facts. So if we're going to be an excellent organization, if we're going to be holistic, if we're going to use crystal clear marketing strategies, if we're going to have a lot of credibility, we next move down to this step, which are what are the things that we need to deploy in order to make these things happen? In other words, what are the internal initiatives that we need to launch to ensure that we provide excellent service across the board for our clients, or to ensure that we're highly credible and we're using social proof in our marketing efforts, or that we're holistic, right? We're not just focused on marketing, but we're focused on their ultimate success. And so what are the initiatives that we need to deploy? So you're going to write those things down. So for us, if we're going to be all about excellence, maybe we need some new initiatives deployed that ensure quality, right? That ensure that we're responding to emails within 4 hours, that we're returning phone calls within 2 hours, that we are using social proof in our marketing. So in other words, are we asking our current clients for testimonials, for interviews that we can do so that we can use that social proof? So let's just stick with excellence. So we know we need to deploy, if we're going to be an excellent organization, we have to deploy some form of check and balance, some form of internal systems or processes to ensure that every single person on our team, from me as the CEO to the intern, is delivering excellent service. So the question is, what is that thing that we need to deploy? Well, it's an internal system that ensures excellence. So let's just call that, we need to have a system and process for excellence. So that's what we're going to deploy. We're next going to move down and we're going to say, okay, based on that, What do we need to develop? We know we need to deploy a system that ensures excellence in every client interaction. If we're going to do that, what do we need to develop? Well, we probably need to develop some internal training so that we can create a consistent, clear method for delivering service to our clients, right? We need some internal training. Two, we need crystal clear process around exactly what's expected when working with our client. How are we going to show up? How are we going to return emails? What type of language will we use? What type of language will we not use? We need clear systems and processes around how we communicate, how we interact. We also need to develop some form of tool where we can go back and we can audit, did we actually live up to the standards that we created? That's another thing that we need to develop. Another one would be maybe we need to get some feedback from clients throughout the process, because if we think we're providing excellent service, but they don't think we're providing excellent service, then there's something wrong there. So we may need to develop something that gets feedback in real time from our clients. So you follow me? So again, we're starting here with the facts. What do we want to be true? What do we know to be true based on the organization we're going to have? We then establish those facts. What are the things that define us? What are the words that we know to be true if we have that actual organization? Then we decide, okay, if things are going to be true, what do we need to deploy? What needs to be implemented? What needs to be launched into the business? From there, we're going to develop what are the things that need to be developed. So again, the systems, the processes, the client interaction, the client feedback, the internal audits, those types of things. And then down here, what needs to be discovered? This is the very last step. So in order to develop those things, what do we need to discover? So if we're going to develop a system for getting feedback from our clients in real time, what do we need to discover? Well, we need to figure out maybe when's the best time to ask our clients for feedback, right? Is it after the initial kickoff meeting? Is it a month into the project? Is it 2 months into the project? When is the best time? So we need to discover that. Next, we need to discover, how are we going to go about doing that? Are we going to send a text message? Are we going to send an email? Are we going to show up at their office with the form? Like, how are we going to actually do that? So we're going to make a list of all the things that we need to discover in order to develop that system. So again, what happens is when you set a goal is that if you were to say, okay, my goal is in 5 years, I'm going to have a big agency and we're going to be doing $10 million in revenue. That is the way so many people approach this. They set that goal. It's a very tangible, it's a SMART goal, if you will, right? That's a common term we often hear used. SMART goal. It's specific, it's measurable, it's actionable, it's relevant, it's timely, all of those things. The problem with that is when we set a goal, it doesn't force us to work backwards through what's actually going to be required to reach that goal. The beauty of this system is it forces you to go all the way back to today, to what needs to be discovered today, so that we can begin developing those things that need to be deployed in the future. So that once those things are deployed, we will be living into these words. We'll be living into that vision that we've created. So again, start with your current reality. Create the vision of the future. Define the facts that you know to be true of that future organization that you're going to build. Figure out what needs to be deployed to bring those facts to life. And then based on what needs to be deployed, what needs to be developed. And based on what needs to be developed, what do you need to discover today? And as I wrap up, here's what I want to tell you. When you follow this particular process, magic will happen in your organization, because what you are doing is you are leaning into the future and you're actually building a clear roadmap to ensure that happens. As opposed to setting a goal, big agency, $10 million in revenue with a team of 50 people. When we set those goals as entrepreneurs, we shortchange ourselves because it doesn't force us to think through the implementation. And if you're anything like me, you love to think about this. You love to think about this amazing future that you're working to create, that your team's working to create, the impact that you're going to have on the world and on your clients and on your customers. All of that stuff excites you. And so it motivates you. But then we lose sight of what is actually required to bring this to life. What do we actually need to do? And here's another final thought for you. Sometimes when we look at all of these steps and all of these things, we get overwhelmed with how am I going to accomplish these things? How am I actually going to develop these things, deploy these things, ensure these things take place? And I would challenge you as a leader to not focus so much on the how, but rather focus on the who. Focus on who you can bring into your organization to help ensure these things take place. And this is why it's so important to have a strong operator within your organization, someone who can help take your vision and bring it to life. For so many of you watching this, you may be in a place where you can't afford to bring in somebody to help with operations. I completely get that. I was that way for 7 years. It was 7 years before I could actually hire somebody to come into our organization and help with operations. But here's the hack. Here's a hack that enables you to still work through this process and still live in your strengths, which is the vision, the execution, all of these things, but yet still ensure that this part, right, the operational part is taking place. And that is this: find a coach or mentor. Find someone who will hold you accountable for these pieces. Because here's the thing, you can't end up here without these pieces, right? If you are on a fitness journey, for example, fitness at the end of the day really boils down to a few things, right? It's about what we eat. It's about the exercise that we get. Now, you could dive into all the other things, sleep and, lots of other variables that go in there. But at the end of the day, it boils down to some very basic things. In your business, success boils down to these very basic things. When you have a coach or a mentor who's willing to challenge you, who's willing to hold you accountable, they will hold you accountable to these very basic things that lead to this success. So my challenge for you is, if you can't afford an operator, someone to help you deploy these things, help you develop these things, help you discover these things, hire a coach to walk you through this process. All great coaches follow this process. They may use different terms, they may use different words, but this is the process that all great coaches use. So if you don't have a coach, if you don't have a mentor, if you don't have someone who's willing to hold you accountable and tell you the truth, to be blunt and honest with you, find a coach, find a mentor. If this video has been beneficial for you, go ahead and click like and subscribe down below, because I've got more great content coming your way. And until the next video,